Good day, everyone. We are Group 2 and we are tasked to report the Lesson 17 Globalization of Religion. So, without further ado, let's start. So, as you all know, globalization has profoundly influenced the practice and perception of various cultures and societies worldwide. And so, it is expected it will affect religions too in a certain way. In context of religion, globalization has interconnected societies. It also fosters exchanging religious ideas and practices and promotes interfaith dialogue. It challenges traditional institutions, which leads to religious pluralism. So later on, we will discuss about religious pluralism. So, global challenges prompt new forms of religious activism, transforming how people engage with religion globally. So, one timely example for this is the spread of mindfulness practices from Eastern religious traditions such as Buddhism. So you might heard about meditations and such. So these religious practices and traditions are widely commonly found and attributed in Western countries since ni spread naman siya due to globalization. We know naman Buddhism, it originates and is widely practiced here in Asia. But nowadays, with increased globalization, Buddhism has gained popularity in Western societies as a secular practice for improving mental well-being. So meditations and other things such as yoga, meditations. So this adoption of religious practices reflects how globalization can lead to the exchange and adoption of religious practices in response to global trends and challenges. So, what is the importance of studying globalization on religion? Well, studying the impact of globalization on religion is crucial for understanding how global interconnectedness shapes religious beliefs, practices, and institutions. So it also helps us grasp the construction of religious identities. It promotes interfaith dialogue and sheds light on new forms of religious activism. This understanding is essential for fostering a peaceful coexistence in diverse societies and addressing global challenges. So, if we study about the impact of globalization on religion, we will not only know about its significant impact and attributes, but we can also gain knowledge and insight on how to peacefully coexist with one another, knowing that we have different religion and cultures in a globalized and contemporary world. So before we can start our lesson, let me present to you the recent data from the PEW Research Center para maka-visualize mo sa tuang topic and for heads up set. So as you can see in the image, it shows last year's estimated population sa mga major religion around the world. Christianity is the leading religion, as you can see in the pie graph. So keep in mind that not most of these individuals who are involved in a specific religion is a native or a local. So for instance, it might be a percentage of those who practices Hinduism might be American natives rather than Indian nationals. So I hope you will get picture from that explanation.
Next is definition of religion. Often revolves around the concept of the united system of beliefs and practices that bring together a community, just as current field definition. For example, Christianity encompasses a set of beliefs, practices, and rituals that unite believers into the moral community known as a church. On the other hand, Kenneth Pargament views religion as a process of searching for significance related to the creed, distinguishing it from spirituality, which is focused solely on the search for the sacred itself. An example of this distinction could be seen in the someone who practices rituals and engages in religion community activities as a means of finding meaning and connection to define, while also seeking personal spiritual experiences through meditation or prayer. Subjective meanings of religion can vary widely among individuals. Some may view religion as a source of motivation for positive social interaction, while others may see it as a mechanism for promoting self-control and moral behavior. For instance, someone might find inspiration in their religious beliefs to engage in charitable acts or strive for ethical behavior as a way of living out their faith.
So moving on to our next topic, which is the religion in the age of globalization. So in the time when rapid and widespread globalization of economic, political, and cultural information and processes, where does religion lie in the greater scheme of things? That's the question we should ponder about. But this was answered by Victor Radimov sa essay entitled The Religion and Globalization. So iyang gi-point out sa essay ang rift or ang space between the study of religion and social sciences. Iyang gi-highlight why social sciences in the past century was focusing on secularization. Ang secularization di ay kayang hypothesized demise of religion and its values in societies manifested. Like for example, the separation of the church and the state. So therefore, by that example, secularization in a nutshell is the enforcement of secularism. Secularism is a philosophical view oriented toward the need for a secular life beyond one's religious life. So, however, it was argued by Stark in his comprehensive analysis. So he challenges the secularization hypothesis. So if ang hypothesis ni Ratimatov kay nag-state nga ang religion kay mo decline as the modernization rises. So he opposes and argued that the hypothesis lacks solid sociological grounding. Kaya historical evidence, it shows that people's religious beliefs and commitments kaya wala ni change over centuries.
Next is two distinct perspectives related to secularization in the modern times. First is post-secularity or the return of religious consciousness. This perspective suggests that despite that secularization trend in the modern times, there's been a resurgence or revival of religious consciousness in the public sphere. Acknowledges that while secularization has influenced society, it has not eradicated religious beliefs and practices entirely. Instead, there a recognition of the continued relevance and flexibility of religion in various aspects of public life. This can be seen in phenomena such as the resurgence of religious movements, the influence of religious discourse in political and social debates, and the persistence of religious symbols and practices in cultural contexts. Next is religious modernity. This perspective views secularization not as the decline or disappearance of religion, but as the active process that emerges from social action within modernity. It suggests that secularization is intertwined with the development of modern societies and is a result of change in social, political, and economic structures. Religious modernity argues that as societies undergo modernization and urbanization, traditional religion, institution, and practices adapt and change, leading to a transformation of religious beliefs and expressions. In this view, secularization is not necessarily a rejection of religion, but rather a reconfiguration of religious form and meaning in response to modern conditions. This perspective offers different interpretation of the relationship between religion and modernity, highlighting the complexities of secularization and the evolving role of religion in contemporary societies.
Okay, so now let's talk about religion in a world that's getting smaller every day. So thanks to globalization, people and their beliefs are moving around more than ever. So remember those old history lessons about the Jewish diaspora? So today, it's not just one group that's on the move, because people around the world are migrating for all sorts of reasons, and brings them with them their religions. So this means that you might have a tiny Hindu community in your city, or a mosque next door to your local church. That's called cultural pluralism, where different cultures shares the same space. It's pretty cool, but it also means people need to be tolerant of each other's religion. So imagine, if your neighbor wanted to build a place of worship, wouldn't you want them to respect yours? So the greatest example, or the perfect example of this in our area, so diba Cebu is known because it is the first city or the land in the Philippines that is Christianized by the Spanish. But nowadays, it is now open for other religions. So, not to mention yan ay mosque nagbarog sa Cebu City yun. So, it shows the perfect example of cultural pluralism, wherein two different religions are coexisting in the same place. So they're different in terms of their beliefs and their practices, but they coexist and respect each other's differences, and they're tolerant of each other. So that's a perfect example of cultural pluralism and tolerance. So speaking of tolerance, a study from 2018 by Firdaus showed that students were more accepting of other religions when they saw it as a part of their own faith. Basically, being open-minded is a good thing. So it's always a good thing to be open-minded towards differences, to respect each other and be tolerant. So, but here's a twist. Globalization might actually make religions more similar. So take the Baha'i faith, for example. This religion, with about 7 million followers worldwide, is all about peace and respecting different cultures. So if aton siya itandi sa tuwang teaching sad sa Christianity, it also basically teaches the same thing, which is peace, diba? So you can really see the globalization on religion there. However, they also use these Ruhi books to teach everyone the same things. So just like our Bible and the Muslims or the Islam's Quran, the Baha'i faith also uses these Ruhi books to teach everyone the same things or their teachings. So it also is just like us, diba? So it makes you wonder, will globalization lead to one big happy religious family, Or will everyone just end up looking the same? No, so it's very concerning because most of most of our religions, such as the Baha'i faith, for example, is getting similar year by year. So we can also relate this to our culture, man. So, diba? So globalization is all about integration of all things, unifying, no? So we can relate this to our culture. So, diba, most of us are not really pro, or we don't really agree towards the notion of globalization affecting our culture, because we will lose our identity as Filipinos if that happens. So similar to religions. So if people would disagree that religions should be globalized, I think I would also agree with them. Kay, if religions were to be globalized and unified as one, wouldn't that make it more complex than ever? Because we originally came from different and scattered beliefs, but unifying one belief to globalize a religion, that sounds very complicated. But I can also relate to those who would agree to unify our religions, because all in all, if we analyze the teachings and the moral lessons, or the core of our religions, it's just all about peace and love and being good towards each other. And really, it's basically giving people humanity and kindness. So if we were to unify that belief, not just the fact that we are respecting a certain deity, but if we live by that, if we just live by that certain belief that we should be good towards each other and kind towards each other, then globalizing religion might be a good thing. So, however, there's no easy answer. But the point is, with more religions bumping into each other, being tolerant and understanding each other's belief is a key. Who knows? Maybe we can all learn from each other's and create a more peaceful world, even if we don't play to the same sky being. No. So just be tolerant, open-minded, and be respectful towards different religions and cultures. So our next topic would be reported by reporter.
Next is religious fundamentalism. Refers to the conservative orthodox approach to religious beliefs and practices, often characterized by a literal interpretation of sacred text and a rejection of modern secular influence. Fundamentalists typically advocate for a return to traditional values and principles, resisting changes they perceive as deviations from the original teaching of their faith. An example of religious fundamentalism is the rise of Christian fundamentalism in the United States during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This movement emerged in the response to perceived threats posed by modernity, including scientific advancements, secularism, and liberal interpretations of Christianity.
So our next topic is the globalization of religion. So before we start, I would want you to visualize this. So imagine a religion that keeps its core beliefs but adapts to its practices to fit to the local culture. That's localization in a nutshell. Traditionally, religions were rooted in specific places. Christianity originated in the Middle East, for example. But globalization has changed the game. Diba? So we can see Christianity being spread all around the world because it's the biggest and the most populated religion around the world. So now religious traditions are spreading faster than ever before. People are moving around the world, bringing their faiths with them. And religions themselves are actively seeking out to new audiences. So, if you can remember our previous topic, which is religious pluralism, so it's basically this. No, so if people travel, they bring with them their religions and their beliefs. So, if igato nila to sa place, of course, pwede na nila ma-spread lang mga beliefs or religious nga ka ng mga tinuan. Okay, as religions go global, they adapt to local contexts. This can lead to the rise of transnational religions. So transnational religions, these are faiths that transcends national borders and cultures. So, example again, so Christianity, the biggest religion around the world. So, diba, Christianity originated in Middle East, but look at it now, diba? So it's all around the world. It's even in a Muslim country like Dubai, for example. Diba? So Dubai is a Muslim country, but it caters Filipino people or other Christian civilians or people to worship their own religion. So kitagaan sila ka ng right to build a Christian church in that place, despite niya ang ilahang country kay a Muslim nation, diba? So it's all about tolerance and acceptance, really. So, and respect. So think of Hindu temples in London or Buddhist meditation centers in New York City. These are all examples of globalization in action. So, ako na example to last na to nga topic kay ang mosque here in Cebu. So, di ba na mosque din here. Despite Cebu being the first city or place in the Philippines to be Christianized by the Spanish. And Cebu is also known for its Christianism, you know? So, a lot of Christian churches, but nowadays na siya mosque here in our place, no? So it's all about being able to coexist with one another despite of their own differences in their beliefs and religious context. So globalization isn't just about religions spreading outward. It's also about people borrowing from different traditions to create their own unique beliefs. So a lot of these individuals, so there are a lot of individuals nowadays, so naimod to dito ka ng India to experience Hinduism, but they are not really fully committed to become a patron of Hinduism or practice Hinduism. They're just there to experience Hinduism, such as meditations and such. So the result is a more blended and diverse religious landscape where cultures and faiths interact in new and interesting ways. So just like at those Buddhist meditation centers in New York City, I'm sure na dili lang mga Buddhist or mga practitioners sa Buddhism ang naa dito. So there are a lot of religions sad nga naa dito, like Christianity, Christian people, I mean. So Buddhism isn't just all about worshiping Buddha. It's all about being able to promote the teachings of Buddhism. So other religions are welcomed in that place. So here's the real life example of globalization. So Hinduism is a religion that originated in India. However, there are now Hindu communities all over the world. In the United States, for example, Some Hindu temples incorporate elements of American culture into their celebrations. This is a way of making Hinduism more relevant to the lives of Indian Americans, no? So, they travel ang mga Indian nationals dito sa America and they bring with them their religions. Of course, magtukod sila place nila to worship, diba? So, they celebrate their festivals there, their secular festivals there, despite that they're in a different country, different religion, gituan sa majority of the Americans. But they live in harmony, notwithstanding of their differences. Just like the Muslims here in Cebu, they originally came from Mindanao, but they are here in Cebu for some reasons, personal reasons or business reasons, and they have their own place to worship, which is the mosque here in Cebu, and we just live in harmony and unity, diba? So globalization is a complex phenomenon, but it's having a profound impact on the religious landscape around the world. It's leading to a more diverse and interconnected world, where people of all faiths can share their beliefs and practices. So, no matter what religion you are worshiping or practicing, we all have the same goal, which is to promote kindness, peace, and respect. So if you don't have respect for other religions, then you might not have any religion to start with. So respect and tolerate. Be open-minded towards different religions.
Next is forms of localization. First is vernacularization. These forms of localization involves adapting global products, ideas, and or cultural elements to suit local regional preferences, languages, and cultural context. It emphasizes the localization of global phenomena in a ways that resonate with local communities. For example, multinational fast food chains may adjust their menus to include regional dishes or flavors to cater to local taste, thereby vernacularizing their offerings. Next is indigenization. Involves the incorporation of global influences into local cultures, often resulting in the creation of hybrid or syncretic cultural expressions. This process occurs when global ideas or practices are adopted by local communities, leading them with indigenous traditions and customs. An example is the incorporation of Western musical styles and instruments into traditional indigenous music, resulting in new musical genres that reflect a fusion of global and local influences. Next is nationalization. Nationalization refers to the adaptation of global products or practices to align with national identities or ideologies. It involves the appropriation of global elements by nation states to reinforce national values, symbols, or interests. For instance, national governments may promote the localization of global technologies or media content to reflect national languages, cultural norms, or political agendas, thereby reinforcing national identity and sovereignty. Next is transnationalization. Transnationalization involves the diffusion of local or national cultural elements across borders and their integration into local networks or systems. It refers to the process by which local or national phenomena become interconnected with global flows of people, ideas, goods, and information. For example, the spread of particular cuisine from one country to another through migration, trade, or tourism represents transnationalization as local culinary traditions become part of global gastronomic threads.